we're kind of chaotic. Things change a lot in our brewery. I'm not the best planner, so a lot of times we're brewing beers that are kind of spur of the moment, like we know we're going to brew this day, but no one knows what it is till that morning sometimes.
So welcome to Fretboard TV, episode 15. I am joined with Brett Smith, who is co-founder of Branch Bone Artisan Ales in Dayton, and also with Kevin Moreland, who's co-founder of Fretboard Brewing Company here in Cincinnati. So,
cheers.
Blue Ash, I should say. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Brett. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
I guess, Brett, we'll talk with you for a little bit. Talk about your role at Branch and kind of your history as an award-winning home brewer and opening up Branch and Bones in 2018 and how that progression was.
So I'm the co-founder and head brewer at Branch Bone Artisan Ales in Dayton, Ohio. I didn't have professional brewing experience before our brewery, so I was just a home brewer. My home brewing path kind of took a turn. I started in 2009, wasn't super serious about it, just brewed kits and things like that. And then I got laid off in 2012 and I was really into craft beer and still brewed, but that's when I got I had more time on my hands and I got more into it, more serious about it. And then around then's when I met John and Kevin. I didn't know then what would be my business partners, but awesome. We all became brewing friends and going to bottle releases and stuff like that. Yeah. And then just around 2014, we started talking about opening a brewery, and it took until 2018 to make that a reality. So, and then here we are a couple years into it.
So 9 years to get there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's kind of a weird path. I never thought I would be a professional brewer, but it's just where it ended up, and I'm happy about it.
What kind of home brews were you doing, to get you where you're at now?
Starting out, I just did pale ales, IPAs, brown ales, and then come around 2011, maybe even into 10, I was getting really into sour beer, funky beer, mixed fermentation stuff, lambic, and you couldn't find a lot of that in stores, or if you did, it wasn't any good.
Yeah.
So I just started brewing that almost exclusively and gave up I didn't make an IPA for years.
Right.
And then the year, once we bought the building for the brewery and everything, that's when I was like, I better learn how to brew IPAs.
A little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. So then I started shifting my focus to brewing more, pub beers.
Gotcha.
And stuff for us. So.
And has that changed your palate at all? I mean, do you still kind of gravitate towards the lambics?
I don't drink as much sour beer as I once did. I definitely still love it and go for it, but being a professional brewer has changed my taste in beer a lot. When you're around it every day and work with it, it changes you a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I always get people coming up to me, Kevin, where's your 10% barrel-aged beer? Or, where's your funky this or that you used to brew? And it's like, dude, when you're around that every day, you still love that excitement to be able to do it and the experiments of trying to come up with great beer like that. But, at the end of a good shift's a great lager for me, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, where did the name Branch and Bone come from? What's the backstory on that?
Yeah, so the name actually comes from a song, an album by a folk artist named Simon Joyner, which is kind of fun doing this collab with you guys because we both have a lot of music themes tied into our brewery. But the name, it was kind of just one in a list that we were going through, and that one we kept coming back to it. We really liked the sound of it, but it started taking on meaning for how we wanted to represent our brand and who we were. And we viewed what we do as just connecting earth and man, into beer. Cool. Because, it's just all raw earthly ingredients.
That's right.
In our work, putting it together.
Yeah, our hard work. The many hours to make beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, you kind of alluded to this. You guys are known for a lot of your funky beers, if you want to call them that. What are some of the most unique beers that you've enjoyed brewing that you feel like or you're kind of proud children, so to speak?
We're known really well for this beer called Violet Perception. It's like people call it a purple Berliner.
Right.
Because it is purple. It's like this bright violet purple color. But that's one of our most creative beers, and that was a homebrew of mine. So it uses this flower called a butterfly pea blossom, which reacts to pH. So at a higher pH, it's blue. Put it in something sour, it's purple.
Gotcha.
And we paired that up with ginger and lime because the flower's from Thailand. We thought those ingredients fit. So that's one of our most unique and funky beers. And then, man, we've just done all kinds of things. Like we just brewed a kvass with Carillon Historical Brewery where we baked sourdough bread at their place and then brought it to ours and threw that in the mash. Now that beer's in wine barrels with mixed cultures. So
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. You never know.
You know, I think our relationship sprung off of music and just beer and being at other brewery events and around the United States. And it's just like, I'm hearing about the things you guys are doing. And I just love the tie from the music. And just, I think, you know, your style of brewing's a lot like us and what we do at Fretboard. We're a little bit, you know, we dabble in everything, right? So we really want to please everybody once with a style of beer that I know you can find at our tap room or on draft throughout the city. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, Kevin just alluded to it. I mean, congrats. You guys are hot. You got a lot of buzz around you. You're putting out great liquids. So
thank you.
Thank you from the industry, making sure that, you know, there's good liquid in the glass.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
You know, on kind of that note, like, tell us about your tap room. What's your vibe? What's the goal of the tap room? And what can we expect when we come out to Branch and Bone?
So we always describe the tap room as rustic modern, which is kind of the way we view our brewing style. It's kind of like we're taking a new take on old traditions, you know, and we kind of mesh those things together. So the tap room's the same way. It has a little bit of this like minimalist mid-century vibe, but there's also a lot of rustic like barnwood and things like that around it, and concrete. And,
I've been there. It's pretty cool.
That was kind of the idea, was just give the tap room the same feel as the beer. And it's small, it's cozy, but we always get a lot of compliments on that it's comfortable and clean. And, you know, that's about all you can ask for really with your tap room is that people enjoy being there.
Absolutely. Well, here's the obligatory COVID question. How has, you know, your business model shifted at all because of COVID? And, you know, have you changed any focus?
It's changed a lot. So I was actually in Florida for Tampa Bay Beer Week when we got the order in Ohio that we all had to shut down. And
good way to ruin your trip, right?
I immediately called John, my business partner, and said, you know, all right, we got to get a crowler machine. You know, we need that now. And we already had a canning run planned for that Monday. And I said, well, let's just put it all in cans. I'll call Luke, get more cans. I'll call Blue Label, order more labels. We'll just have half the batch sitting there unlabeled for a few days. And that's kind of, we turned immediately and just almost turned our 7-barrel brewery into a production brewery, just a small version of it. So we used to can once a month, have a can and bottle release once a month. Now we're doing that every 2 to 3 weeks and more beer, you know. So most of what we're making now is getting packaged. And we're operating the tap room completely different. We kept it closed for a long time. And now it's only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday for on-site service. And Tuesday through Thursday is carry-out only. So,
so most of that packaged beer you're doing now, you're just allowing your guests to come in and fans of Branch and Bone to come in the tap room.
Pretty much all sold through the tap room. We set up an online store immediately when we got shut down, and that was huge. You know, giving people the ability to lock something in immediately when we released it, especially if it's a more rare, like barrel-aged beer or something like that, you know, and give them a couple weeks to come and pick it up too. So that's been key for us, having the online store.
No, I think it's been key for a lot of breweries, no matter what the size is, right now and what we're dealing with. And thank God for all these other folks out there that can't, you know, don't have the budget that right and then to put their own canning equipment in. And it's just...
Well, we were really thankful that we planned the brewery as such that we would be canning beer
Right.
regularly,
Right.
and not having to learn all of that during
Right.
learning how to run a business during all
No,
this
I get it.
was great.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
It made us really flexible.
Is there any other projects like you guys are working on? You're excited about Branch and Bone? You want to tell the people out there you're working on now that could be coming out in package? Or I know you guys just released some beers this past week or this week.
Yeah, we just released a few new cans this week. An IPA that was a collab with a record store in town.
Awesome.
We do it every year. It was geared to be a record store day release.
Right.
COVID messed that up, pushed it back.
Right.
Now it's like 3 different dates, so we're kind of hitting this middle date of record store day.
Right.
But we released an English mild in cans, which was crazy. But people are excited about it.
I had that beer on draft. It was good.
Yeah, it's a really good beer.
Yeah.
And that's one, like during this, it's kind of given us a little more flexibility with what we can package too.
Right.
People they're wanting something different too, so we've started packaging more lager and things like that, and
cool.
It's been going really well.
Well, let's talk about our collaboration a little bit. So from what I understand, you guys we've decided to do a dark Czech Lager, which sounds delicious. So I guess Kevin and Brett, if you want to give us a little background on what this beer is going to be like and why we landed on this. And
I'll probably start because I kicked this off with Brett. Like I said earlier in the interview, me and Brett kind of run into each other at different events. We know a lot of the same folks, and everyone says, you got to meet this guy. He just built this brewery in Dayton. And like I said, I've been around Cincinnati and Ohio, craft beer for a little while, and I've traveled to Dayton. And what was awesome is this past year we had the OCBA conference was in Dayton, and I never was able to try any Branch and Bone beer and none of Brett's beer, and I've heard a lot about his beer through friends in our industry, and I hit him up on Messenger, and I said, Brett, I'm in town, man. I'd love to come by and try some beers. And he's like, he kind of knew what I was already into, and he said, dude, you got to try this oak-aged Pilsner, right?
Yep.
Knowing I love lagers, but I hit him up. I said, yeah, where are you located? And I said, I'm coming over, and got to see the place, took our marketing guy there with us, and we sat down, got to visualize what he's talking about now and in their taproom style and their beers. Obviously, I wanted to see what, the talents of the brewers were and what was going on there. So I tried a little bit of this and that, and soon come to think about is I'm also not the guy that does a tremendous amount of collaboration brews, as everyone here knows. I tended to say, you're close to Cincinnati, and I wanted to build some more relationships in Dayton, but obviously I just wanted to get together and see how we could come up with a cool beer together.
Right.
And we had an opportunity for a can run coming up here at Fretboard, and we're starting to do these quick hits that we call them here of can runs where there's a limited amount. I pitched the idea to Brett, and Brett was automatically on board, and I said, well, what do you want to brew? And we were talking about a lot of historical German things because not a lot of breweries, here in Cincinnati, but in Ohio, they want to brew lager or Pilsner, but there are a tremendous amount of great styles that you can get from Europe that they're not, or, regularly available in package or draft here locally. So we kind of went back and forth on some styles, and all of a sudden COVID hit. We kind of went silent. But obviously I got back on it, and we had a couple of email exchange. Brett said he's definitely interested, and I said, Brett, what do you want to brew? And I'll let him talk about why, why he came.
Yeah, and I pitched, a dark Czech lager. It's just a style I've gotten really into in the last 6 months and been, really focused on and interested on, and
awesome. Have either of you brewed a dark Czech lager before?
No, we brewed something similar recently for our oak tank. I've been doing like these Midwest lagers and just exploring more local ingredients with that. So we did something similar, but I couldn't call it a Czech lager. It being malt from Indiana and hops from Michigan, it doesn't have exactly what it needs to be that. But no, this will be my first, brew of this style with traditional ingredients and everything.
I think what I put on paper, I kind of went back on my head, and I actually called Brett just yesterday to kind of make some changes on our recipe. But traditionally, what you're going to get out of this beer is some dark, not overly roasty malts, but some dark biscuity, bready, malty flavors from the malt bill, but true to style from the Czech Republic. We're using 100% Czech Republic base malt and we Czech Republic hops. So we went traditional with those. We are using a traditional European yeast strain, lager strain on this beer, but it's going to be very balanced. So I'm really excited about it. Once we finalized the recipe, I was like, we both are into music, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that drawed us together. I think we had Bootsy Collins at the beer fest in Cincinnati, and Brett was over there asking him all kinds of questions. He was like, it was a cool night.
Yeah, you don't pass up a chance to meet Bootsy Collins.
So Brett was in town during the Cincy Winter Beer Fest, and we had Bootsy down there representing our Bootsy IPA, and Bootsy's a great guy, wants to meet everybody, and this guy's a true music fan. He's like, Kevin, can I meet Bootsy? I was like, yeah, dude. So he did, and I think that's what sparked this relationship and really moving this beer forward. So when we needed a name, it had to be a music theme. So I reached out to Brett and I said, here's what we're thinking about a name. What are you thinking? And I'll tell you, it was pretty awesome. He came back with like 4 names right away, and I'll let him talk about the names that he came up with because we did pick one of his.
Yeah, I came back with some more heavy metal influence things. To me, it just fit the beer, and we do like heavy metal a lot at our brewery. We listen to it a lot. Gets us through the workday sometimes. Buckles us in. But we came up with Dark Throne, which is it's the name of a Norwegian black metal band.
Oh yeah.
And to me, it just really fit this beer. Yeah, it's kind of telling you exactly what it is.
Yeah, and so once I asked him what Dark Throne was, before he got back to me, I just went ahead and went in, talked to Mitch in our design and marketing office, and I was like, Dark Throne, what do you think? So we Google searched the band, and let me tell you, it put a new emphasis on metal for me, for sure. So we definitely sent that info over to Mitch, and Mitch got to work on the design for the label. I think it fits great. I love the name. I think the label. But I think just for our industry in Cincinnati right now, it's just not a beer you can get in package. And I think that's why it's cool for us to be able to team up and put something like that together. So Dark Throne will be releasing soon. We're actually brewing today.
While listening to Dark Throne.
While listening to Dark Throne. Brett's getting ready to mash in here in a few minutes. So we'll be able to keep you up to date on the progress and when that beer's released. Hopefully we'll be able to get it up into some Dayton places for you guys and your fans up there. But I know we got guys working on that. So it's our first time working with a brewery in Dayton. So seems
exciting.
Cool.
Well, awesome. We're going to get ready to take a brief break to let our customers know what's coming up in our tap room. But prior to doing that, this will be released next week, so we're talking about the first weekend of October. But if there's any events or beer releases coming up in your tap room or things you'd like to mention, if you'd like to let the viewers know what's going on.
we're not really throwing any big events right now in our tap room. We're kind of keeping things chill and just letting the natural order of things play out. But we do have a new barrel-aged stout coming out in a couple weeks. It's a collaboration with the Century Bar.
Yeah, them guys.
Which is one of the most well-known bourbon bars in the country.
Yeah.
And they happen to sit in Dayton, Ohio, right there with us. But it's a barrel-aged stout that was aged for 17 months in a Wild Turkey American Spirit barrel that they hand-selected for their bar.
Awesome.
So kind of a little private select single barrel project coming out. It'll be pretty rare, but
I think I might have had a couple of bourbons there at the old Century Bar in my time.
It. Yeah.
How could you not?
I think I've had a little bourbon there.
Well, awesome. We're going to take a brief break. Here's what's coming up for Fretboard Brewing and our weekend, and we'll be right back with segment 2. Welcome back to Fretboard TV, episode 15. joined by Kevin Moreland and Brett Smith of Branch and Bones.
Cool.
Happy to have you guys. Actually, bone singular, not plural, right?
Mm-hmm.
Branch and Bone.
We get that a lot. It's okay.
My apologies. This is historically our music segment. Again, tell us a little bit about the music. We know now that Dark Throne's from a Czech Norwegian metal band, so strong metal influences at your brewery, and kind of what keeps you guys going, huh?
Yeah, there's several of us that work at the brewery who listen to a lot of heavy metal. It's not exclusively what we do, but we do play it a lot in our homes, our cars, and in the brewery.
Right.
Is that the predominant music playing at the brewery when you guys
I don't
are going?
know. It changes so much on the season. Like winter's coming, I will be playing more heavy metal. But we listen to a lot of jazz, hip hop, soul. We try to keep it energetic in the brewery. Just keep
You got to.
Yeah, it keeps you going. That and coffee.
Yes.
Now, a lot of our guys here are musicians as well.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your great staff, and are you guys playing musicians? Are you guys play? Or?
We have no one that's actively in a band right now, but we have several people who play instruments. I play guitar, bass, and I can hit the drums a little bit.
Awesome.
I can keep a standard beat.
So you guys going to throw together a
keyboards.
few songs, and we'll release this with a Branch and Bone and Fretboard show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look back and you think about your childhood and how you evolved, not only with beer but with music, what's that album that you remember, kind of sealed the deal to create your love for music?
For me, like I got into music in 6th grade. I remember it. I would stay up late and see 120 Minutes on MTV, and it was the Henry Rollins band, Wait, that album, and it was the song Liar. It was probably their biggest hit. But something about that, seeing that guy like just
going
all
nuts.
aggressive, going nuts. Yeah,
He
it really
commanded the stage,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yep.
Going kind of current, what's the last album that really made that impactful moment for you, Kevin?
Right now it's a soul album from a band called Monophonics. The album's called It's Only Us. It's from Coal Mine Records
Oh, really?
right here in Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Loveland.
Yeah, we just did a last episode with Coal Mine.
Oh, nice.
Records.
Yeah, Terry's
Terry
awesome.
was in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They get a lot of my money down there at their record store.
awesome. Awesome.
Well, this might be a rhetorical question. I think we've covered this, but if Branch and Bone was a band, what would the band be most similar to?
We're kind of chaotic. Things change a lot in our brewery. I'm not the best planner, so a lot of times we're brewing beers that are kind of spur of the moment, like we know we're going to brew this day, but no one knows what it is till that morning sometimes. So I don't know. I'd probably throw just some sort of experimental jazz at it or something, like some John Coltrane in his later years or something like that.
Nice. We had a Coltrane beer at
Yes,
one point,
we did.
didn't we?
We had a Coltrane.
That's going back a few years.
Yeah.
Here's one of our favorite questions, Brett. If you're stranded on an island and you're allowed one brewery's entire portfolio and one band's entire discography, name the brewery and name the band.
All right. That's not that hard for me. It would be Sierra Nevada, because they do everything well.
Yeah.
I can drink their beer endlessly. And Neil Young,
All
because I'm
right.
a big Neil Young fan, and I think he has a pretty well-rounded discography that could keep me occupied for a long time.
You be jamming and drinking your hoppy beer?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
So, if you could book any three bands, dead or alive, on the Fretboard stage and come down and drink some beers and watch a show with us, what three bands would you put up here?
That's tough. I mentioned John Coltrane already. Seeing him live would be a revelation. So
Yeah.
John Coltrane,
All right, Coltrane one.
late quartet. It's very specific Coltrane.
Pick out an era.
Jack Rose, one of my favorite guitar players of all time. He died before I ever got to see him live, so I'd put Jack Rose on that list. I'm gonna lean towards people that are already gone. 'Cause
Right.
I've seen a lot of shows.
Right.
So
Sure.
who else? We need something heavy in there. What's something heavy that's gone, Trevor?
Pantera.
I'd like to see. I thought about Pantera, but I'm not sure what I've seen of them live when I was young could be topped. You know what? I've never seen Metallica. Seeing them in their prime, Metallica in their prime, that would be up there too.
All right. Awesome.
There you go.
Well, we'd like to thank both of you guys for your time.
Yeah.
I speak on our brewery's behalf and yours as well, that we're very excited to release this beer to
Let's do
all
it.
our great customers. It's going to be delicious, and we're looking forward to it. So for all our Fretboard viewers out there, thanks for tuning in and learning a little more about Branch and Bone. Please subscribe and please share out these posts. It helps both of us tremendously, and we look forward to the next episode. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yep.